you think you can love someone and cheat on them?
You know, it's funny because someone told me that the other day that it's different between women and men to a certain degree.
I've heard that too.
I don't know, because to your question, can you do that? I don't know, because most women, we know stereotypically, maybe it's wrong, but they usually don't let go of I guess one vine until they grab onto the other. But but men, it's almost like they do that, but they don't really care about the women that they're doing it with. Whereas women, I think they take it a little bit more
of an emotional
maybe.
connection.
Not everyone.
Men following IG models and OnlyFans models when in a committed relationship. And I've seen some of those little picture, like quotes and stuff like that, and little memes and stuff, where it's like guys, they have like 200 people that follow them, and then they follow like 1,000 people, and all of them are like half naked women and fucking models and all that kind of thing. So it's like, what do you think about that? So we posted a little, Q&A, I guess you could call it. We're back in the studio. What should we talk about? And somebody suggested this topic: men following IG models and OnlyFans models when in a committed relationship. I guess they want us to talk about this. What do you think about that? And I've seen some of those little picture, like quotes and stuff like that, and little memes and stuff, where it's like guys, they have like 200 people that follow them, and then they follow like 1,000 people, and all of them are like half naked women and fucking models and all that kind of thing. So it's like, what do you think about that? Especially if even if they're single, I think it's kind of weird. But if you're in a committed relationship, why are you following all those models?
Yeah. I don't know, dude. Because I think that with social media, there's just like, it's almost like that's all that you see, especially like being here in Miami. And our feeds are also toxic with like the coffee breakup and the podcast stuff and all these like dating stuff.
Yes.
And not only that, we also know, I think not a lot of them, but some of the people that we've had on, we've had porn stars.
Yes.
But I just think that there's just the Instagram is so saturated with them that it's almost impossible to avoid them, but then to follow them.
And especially if you don't know, like, my girl will joke, and we'll be like, I'll be on social media, and it's like, she's like, oh, you follow all those Insta thoughts, and it's like, a lot of those girls I follow, obviously they all follow me, but also it's like because of what we do, the podcast. A lot of them, some of them we had on the show, others they follow the show, and so.
Or like I'll send them over to our podcast, and like we're trying to get them on the show.
Exactly. So like you kind of try to connect with them and X, Y, and Z. So it's not, that's more of we are more of I guess on a professional level, I guess I would say.
Sure. I'll take it.
Yeah. It's like it's work, for us.
Yeah.
But if you're in a committed relationship, I don't think you should be following like dozens and hundreds of girls that don't even follow you. I think that's a big one. Like, why are you following those fucking random girls? They don't follow you.
Right.
Like, you don't know them.
Yeah. What do you think about the conversation where it's like, men shouldn't like photos of half naked girls, but then the girls that are complaining about their men doing that are also posting like half naked pictures?
Yeah, I think that's, if we've talked, I don't know if we talked about this, but that's crazy. It's like you posting the same pictures, you're wearing the same outfits, but it's okay if you wear it, but then your man shouldn't be liking the same type of pictures on social media. I don't know. Does that make sense?
It's just a weird time that we're living in where like, as like all these generations and all these things like unfold, like back then, think of like the type of problems that people had within their relationship.
Yeah.
And now like we've gone to the point that with social media, it's the same thing. It's like you have the app, all these people are there, and somehow it's just caused so much issues within relationships within social media.
I remember we talked about liking other girls' pictures when you're in a relationship, and you're like, well, if it's a friend of mine, like I'll support it or whatever. But then it's like, is there a fine line? Like, hey, this may be my friend, but she's posting very like extravagant pictures. Out of respect, maybe not do that.
Yeah, like if I had a friend that was posting like these pictures where they're like these models that are like almost, you can see they're like their asshole almost, like I wouldn't even want to be following that, because I also think it's weird that I know someone is posting their asshole like that. But two, I don't know. That's not one that I would like. I mean, if anything, liking another girl's picture where it's, I don't know. Like if it's a cool picture, if like they're out with their friends and someone's like, oh,
Yeah.
cool. You know, if I know them, sure. But then again, I've never looked at social media. I mean, maybe once upon a time where you like a picture and it's like, oh, they like it back. And they're like another one. Like there was strategy. Yeah, you were telling me about that.
Yeah.
But like now I really don't see it like that. Like if I'd be liking a lot of shit now. Like just random shit. Like I'd be watching some videos and every reel, one could be about like fucking politics and I like it. One could be about airplanes and fighter jets in the sky. I like it. One can be about the cooking and I like it.
Yeah.
For me, like I'm not stingy with my likes, unlike other people, and I feel like others will think that if you like, I'll be strategic. Or on their story, if I react, I'll be strategic. Or you know how like if let's say a girl in this case is posting a lot of stories and some of them will be like, you know, bikini pictures or like hot pictures or them working out pictures, and then one of them will be like the horizon or like the sun, and they're like, oh, let me like that one so she knows I'm different.
Yes,
you know?
I've seen that.
It's like there's so much strategy behind it, where I can say that could be an issue. So to that point, if someone is in a committed relationship and they're liking pictures or like they're trying to do it, obviously it's wrong, but it's just like a fine line that I think that at the end of the day, it all comes down to knowing your partner.
Yeah, I like that. Another question was second chances. Should they be given? It's a good one. Second chances. I think, people make mistakes. Especially if you're in a relationship, it depends how severe the mistake was. And do you believe that you can move on from that, depending. And it goes, listen, it applies to both. But if you know that this person, say they cheated on you, God forbid, obviously terrible, never acceptable. Let's say if you believe that you can move on and forget this and move past that, okay, maybe then you can. There is a place for a second chance. But if deep down you know, like, there's nothing that this man or woman can do to make me forgive them, and the only way I get back to them with them is if I do the same thing to them or I'll hold it over their head.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Level playing field.
Exactly. Then it's like, what are we doing here? Then this is not going to work. At least not right then and there. So you have to know yourself. You have to know what the problem is, and if you really think you can overcome this. Depending on the severity of it, maybe you can. I believe in second chances for the most part, because everybody makes mistakes. Some mistakes are bigger, some mistakes are smaller. You just have to know your person and know yourself and see if this is something that you can overcome with.
You have to know what you're willing to tolerate.
Yes.
But when it comes to second chances, you and your partner have to agree if you want to move past or not. And I think a lot of people, when they're thinking of love or when they're in their relationship, they want to look at the good. So then they'll know that the bad will always be on the back of their mind as they're trying to move on. And I feel like that can cause like just recurring problems if it never gets addressed, or if you never really heal and forgive and move on. If you can't forgive and forget, then it's just going to continue lingering, and it's just going to continue popping up in situations. Any minor inconvenience or issue that happens in the relationship, that's going to be thrown back in there. And is that something that you want to live with? Because one, it's like on one part, it's you're going to have to, the person who did wrong is going to have to hear it all the time, and you're never going to be able to have a productive or prosperous relationship with a constant reminder of what had happened when you're trying to move on together.
Yeah.
But two, having it on the back of your mind just means that you're never going to move on from it. So think of it. Do you really want to torture yourself in a relationship when you know that you haven't even healed from it?
Yeah.
So yeah, at the end of the day, you got to know what you're willing to tolerate and what that means. But second chances, it depends. At the end of the day, it's going to be up to you and your relationship. I feel like we both have been giving second chances. I, for one, once upon a time, tried giving a second chance, and I couldn't. I could not move on from it.
Same. I guess it's a question that you have to ask yourself. I think there are certain things that you cannot come back from, whether that is personally, infidelity, or abuse, whether that is physically, emotionally, financial abuse. That's very hard to figure. What? Yeah.
Financial abuse.
We're talking about it's true, guys. So it's very hard to come back from that. And to me, I think those things are inexcusable.
I agree.
You like that, huh?
Is that a set you're wearing? Where's that set from?
It's not actually a set. It's just two completely different pieces.
Damn.
It kind of worked out.
Zara?
The bottoms I did, yeah. I think so too. One person was, men should not get into relationships if they're not working on themselves.
I think in today's generation, it's proving to be true.
Yeah.
I think you and I are an exception because we've been with our partners for quite a bit of time. But any man, at least in Miami, But I'm sure maybe anywhere else, at least in major cities, if you're not working on yourself and you're not in a position where you can spend money on dates and really take a girl out and court her, you're gonna have a really tough time in the dating field.
But does she mean should not get into relationships if they're not working? Like currently working on themselves as they're in a relationship, or have worked on themselves and then get into a relationship? We won't know from just based on this.
What's the
message
question
alone.
again?
I've verbatim. Men should not get into relationships if they are not working on themselves. Working as in currently working. So this, I think everybody should be working on themselves. Man, woman, whether that is, if you have career goals, life goals, spiritual goals, financial goals, whatever it is, you should be working on yourself. I don't being in a state of like complacency or just kind of just going through the motion. I don't think it's healthy for anybody, man or woman. So you should always strive to become better. I think it's what life is all about.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a lot simpler if we handle it that way. But I think in a greater scale, if it goes back to, I guess, what I was saying, it almost feels like men don't really get a fair shot anymore in dating and relationships unless they're. I mean, think of the viral Cheesecake Factory video of the girl like, "Oh, you're taking me here to cheesecake," and the guy could have been a really nice guy, but maybe if he was in a much better position because he worked on himself and he developed himself into, I guess, a high value man who can afford these things and can kind of has the experience of what success looks like. I think that's very much different than a guy who's just started getting into the dating pool.
Yeah, I will say this. Obviously, we're blessed to be in healthy relationships and for a while already. If I wasn't with my current partner, I don't think I'd be dating.
I refuse.
I would just be working on myself, grinding, fucking stacking out my money, and trying to make it out there.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm very fortunate to have a girl now, and so I guess it's working out. But, and it's funny. I joke with her, and I'm like, dude, if you weren't with me, you'd be with somebody who has some fucking rich guy. And she's like, no, you'll be dating somebody else. I'm like, there's no way I'll be dating somebody else.
Yeah, I can't afford anybody.
I can't afford anybody else.
Yeah, I tell that to my girl all the time. I'm like, yo, like right now we're grinding together, and luckily we've been together where we have, a lot of things that, to look forward to together, and what we've established and invested in together, and how we're working together with our families and everything. But if that were never the case, if we never rekindled, I mean, there's no reason why she would be with me. I feel like every woman, they look for one thing, and they look for support, and they look for someone who they can look up to, and someone who can not necessarily provide, but know that they have that, stability? I guess, provider instinct in them where they're able to kind of, have things already, more experience, more stability. Yeah. Stability, and I think especially now in this time of our lives, in this economy, we're in this grind mode that even what success looked like maybe 5-10 years ago is very different what it looks like now. So right now we're still in this grind mode, even though we're in our 30s trying, in decent positions. It's very different. And so I think that now the baseline of what women are looking for is someone who's already well established, because you want that security. You want to know that tomorrow that you're going to be safe. And someone who hasn't worked on himself won't be able to provide that.
Yeah. Very well said. There was one more thing. Someone goes, Ashley Madison. Are you familiar with that? It's like a website, I guess, for married couples.
Isn't it who want affairs?
Yeah. Life is short, have an affair.
What? Is that what they said?
That's their slogan. Life is short, have an affair. That's fucking wild, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what much to say about it. I think it's crazy as fuck that there's an established website that kind of promotes infidelity amongst married couples and profits off of it. I think that's crazy.
I mean, I think there's two ways to look at that, because, yeah, that's one. But two is, if people are already going to be having affairs, why not profit off of?
Right, but you're kind of facilitating it. It's like, people are going to kill themselves. Doesn't mean that you should facilitate murder, because the argument is, well, they're going to kill themselves anyway, so I'll fucking hand them the gun and make it easier for them. I don't know. I think that's...
So what do you think they should do? You think that Ashley Madison should capture their information and be like, gotcha, or send it to your partner?
They should just fucking, I mean, it's a business. They should sell.
Is your name so-and-so? Is this your current partner?
There was, I don't know how long ago it was, but there was a huge leak where their data got hacked and a lot of names came up and X, Y, and Z. And
wait a minute.
You don't remember that? It's been a little bit. They don't know. That's scary. It's crazy that people would. I don't know. I don't know how married couples could say, you know what, fuck it. Like, I'll rather cheat than leave my spouse. but I guess every situation is different. I just don't really understand. I told my girl, like, if there's ever a day of where you wake up, you don't feel the same, or you feel whatever, kids, no kids, married, no married, you feel different, fucking let me know, and vice versa. I would never want to be with somebody that doesn't want to be with me. And so,
But what if they do want to? You haven't seen this video of that one girl that it's like this. What I think Omegle or whatever, where they go and they talk to random people all day long, and like you click a button and like it goes. It's like a chat room.
okay.
And every single time that you can just choose to talk to someone else randomly across in the world, whatever. There's this girl that she's doing her hair with her friend, and the guy asks her, "What's like a deepest, darkest secret that you have?" And she's like, "I'm currently cheating on my boyfriend with like 5 other guys." And the guy's like, "Well, why don't you just break up with him then?" And she goes, "Because I love him."
No, that's crazy. I've never seen that.
I'm gonna send it to you so you can
See, you can.
But
find
you know,
out.
but those are the instances where you say, "Well, oh, why don't they just break up or whatever?" Like, there must be something.
You think you can love someone and cheat on them?
You know, it's funny because someone told me that the other day that it's different between women and men to a certain degree.
I've heard that too.
And they were like, "Oh, because a man," it is what they tell me. They go, "A man can cheat on his girl, and in some cases, it makes them love their partner even more because they just released, you know, whatever
You think
they
so?
had.
Like desire,
That's
lust?
what they had said, and I'm like, man, that's kind of, it's weird to shape that, but it got me thinking, like, is it, I don't know, because to your question, can you do that? I don't know, because most women, we know stereotypically, maybe it's wrong, but they usually don't let go of I guess one vine until they grab onto the other. So they kind of stay in the relationship until they know that they have someone else lined up, and then they leave. But men, it's almost like they do that, but they don't really care about the women that they're doing it with.
Yes, sure. But like if
Whereas women, I think they take it a little bit
There's
more,
more of an emotional
maybe.
connection.
Not everyone. Okay. But right,
But think
they
about
cheat
it.
emotionally while men cheat just physically.
Physically.
Instinctually.
But if you know, like, that if your partner were to find out that you cheated on them, like, it would break their heart. It'll be like if you grab a knife and fucking stab them. Would you, if you truly love this person, is that something that you'd want to do to them? Emotionally fucking stab them?
However, but do you think?
Wouldn't.
But there's a place where I think that exists, I guess, in open relationships, where it's almost like, listen, I know that if you want to get a nut off, you know, sometimes you got to get a nut off. And I ain't going to be me. But at the end of the day, I know you still love me. You still want, look at fucking.
So that's like an arrangement right there.
Or
That's
look
not
at,
really cheating,
look
though.
at porn stars to a certain degree. Where it's like, hey, you know, I love you and I'm with you. And
But for them, they're like, yo, that's work. That's my job. But then if you...
wouldn't someone argue that it's cheating?
No, it's not cheating. That's
No?
my job. And if you have you probably have an open relationship if you're porn star. We've had some couple porn stars who they see other people.
It's just work. Yeah, for them. Yeah.
Yeah,
And for them, it's just work.
exactly. So, but to, I don't know. I'm thinking if you're in an open relationship with somebody, you have an understanding. I don't think that's not cheating. Because cheating is the act of, let's say you're doing somebody else, and the other person not being aware of it, not knowing, betraying them, their trust.
So it's not cheating.
If it's an open relationship,
It's not cheating if it's okay.
if it's agreed upon, if it's an understanding, whether that is, let's say you stay at home fucking wife, and I'll pay all the bills, whatever. If I'm out of town and I happen to, fuck some chick there, we have an understanding. You don't ask any questions. I don't say anything. Blah blah blah.
So it's not cheating.
That's not cheating. It's an understanding. Like, yo, fuck. I know he does his shit on the side. Maybe I'll do my own thing. But if we're in a committed monogamous relationship and I fuck somebody else, and you find out, that is 100% cheating.
So hitmen aren't killing people. They're just working. They're just doing their job. Right?
No, I mean they're killing somebody.
No, they're working.
I mean, being a hitman, it's illegal. You can't
It's
kill
kind of
people.
true, yeah, because you're still killing someone. Whereas in the other one, you're just fucking. You're not cheating.
You're fucking them. Cheating is not. It's. I guess you have to have an understanding of, like, yo, I'm betraying your trust. So
Okay.
Whether it's physically, emotionally, or whatever. Either way, but I guess what bottom line, fucking cheating is bad. Don't do it.
Cheating is bad. Don't do it.
All right, I think that was all the questions. If you have any other questions for us, DM us, send us a message, either to the podcast, IG, or to us individually. We'll answer it. Well, anyways, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. If you have any things that you want us to talk about, any topics, any questions, any discussions, send us a DM either to me, to Chris, or the podcast. And yeah, let us know if you have any questions.
Tell us what you want to hear, and if you want more information, go to www.coffeebreakup.com. Check out our stuff. Love you.
See ya.